no, was that the vice president of China or something on was it one of this American TV station? I see the reporter trying to reinforce to that person, saying you're going to lose 15% of your GDP or trade or something, and the guy said, "We don't care." Game theorists are looking at the situation at the moment, and they see that it's a bully in a schoolyard game, right? And what this means is basically exactly what I've said: bully in a schoolyard. You are in a high school. There's a bully. Bullies all the weaker students, and what should the weaker students do? Now, in this scenario, it's really not a weaker student kind of situation. I think maybe I've said it wrong. There's a bully that just bullies other students, whether they're weaker or stronger, it doesn't matter. Just bullies other students. What is the best approach for the other students to deal with this bully, right? This is how game theory would look at it. And according to game theorists, the idea is that you have to stand up to the bully, right? No, not just game theorists. The common sense solution is stand up to your bully. But when you stand up to your bully, you have to also expect that there could be pain that comes with it. Whether you get in a fight and you end up exchanging punches or something like this, you get hurt as well when you stand up to your bully. But that's also the only way that you probably now solve the whole problem. So when we look at the China and the rest of the world perspective of what the US is doing, what are your thoughts in general also about China's response so far?
Now that you were talking about the game theory part of things, that it could also be a strategy, because we might say a lot of things about Donald and his administration. I try not to forget that this is a really smart guy, unlike what like some opposition media would let you believe. Donald is not a dumb guy. He didn't get to where he is by luck. He was quite created and intentional. So I try to remember that even in his whole chaos and how the administration might look from the outside. So having that in mind, this might also be a strategy of, okay, let's see how, let's bully, or let's try to bully everyone and see how they respond, just to assess how much guts they've got or how much confidence they've got. Then we can then maybe by extension see what we are dealing with or know what we are dealing with. Because now thinking of how China has been responding, it's obvious to everyone that China is not that guy you could really bully. And it begs the question, what do they really have going on? For me, I would be scared, because I'm like, man, these guys, the confidence they have, I mean, I think we really need to go back to the drawing board. You get what I mean? So they are assessing how strong you are, then they know how to deal with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, I agree with you, but I would say, do they really need to test China to know where they are at the moment? Because they know what they're doing internally. I think the image of China not being on the level of the US, the American government will know what they are doing. They know that they are the one using the media to make it seem like that's not the case. The government should know. Majority of American debt is with China. China is the largest lender of money in the world. Largest manufacturer of everything, largest trade partner on everything, largest exporter in the world, biggest technology hub in the world. Do you see what I'm saying? Why would you test it? They have a very strong military presence. Why would you want to test to know? Maybe they want to show the rest of the world.
Because that's the most logical thing.
Yeah, but they were also the one hiding the information from the rest of the world. Do you know what I mean? Let's say they want to show the rest of the world that hey, China is a big boy now.
Yeah.
If they were not manipulating the media information about China, the world would have known very clearly, 10 years ago, that China is a big boy. The moment China evacuated 800 million people from poverty, 800 million people, moving them into the lower middle class and above, in a space of 20 years or something. They did this in 3-4 decades ago. How many countries have managed to achieve that kind of feat?
So what's the point? Then explain, because I'm just trying to make sense of the situation, right?
So
that would be the most logical thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, why are you acting like this to them?
Another thing is, the US had authority. They see the Chinese authority and they're thinking, woo, this is a challenge to us. And they want to reinforce their positioning by making sure that people come kiss the ring. We're going to bully you and we'll see. So it's not for China. They already know where China is, but they want to know where the rest of the world is. Because they know that on paper, the rest of the world cannot compete. Only China can compete. Now they just want to know, who do you side with, rest of the world? And I say rest of the world, I'm saying rest of the Western world, right? Europe, Canada. Who are you going to side with? When everything comes to shove, when push comes to shove, are you falling to your Western brother side? Or are you actually open to align with China? I think maybe from that angle, that might be, they know where China is. Yeah? And they're like, Europe, are you going to kiss the ring? Canada, are you going to kiss the ring? And I think it backfired a little bit at this moment.
Maybe not. Because, I mean, you also said that, we were discussing on the phone the other time about this situation. It could also just be to slow them down, like, because, if you can't really beat them, if you can't beat them, you can't join them. You slow them down. I just made down.
Yeah, which makes sense. No, it actually makes sense. You can't beat, you can't join, just slow them down. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, 100%. That could also be the angle that they're seeing like, but I think in the bid to slow China down, US is also slowing themselves down. So I'm really not sure. And if you, as you said, like this Chinese representative, I don't know, was that the vice president of China or something on was it one of this American TV station? I see the reporter trying to reinforce to that person saying, you're going to lose 15% of your GDP or trade or something. And the guy said, we don't care.
She
repeated it again.
I swear.
Yeah, she repeated it again and he said, I'm not sure you heard me correctly. We don't care. We've been around for over 5,000 years. Most of those times, the US was not in existence. And we'll be around for many more, 5,000 more. We don't care. I've said this before that it will affect China as well because they have a huge market in the US, right?
Yeah.
But I think Americans as well, they are overestimating the impact of what that looks like. They don't see that China can shift. So let's say the impact will be 15%. They can shift a bit here and there to reduce that impact to like 5%. One, they can shift to, well, you are tariffing China now. Some products will be coming in through Vietnam. And China knows how to do this. They can do a bit of redirection. But on top of that, they can also shift product and sell to Canada instead. Sell to Europe instead. And those people can still send to the US.